Hello everyone, welcome back to Out of Spec Guide. I'm Max and you join me with two differently set up electric cars for winter. So when you're preparing your electric car, or really any car for winter, you really want to strongly consider tires. And then of course, is your car rear wheel drive or front wheel drive, or does it power all wheels and is it all wheel drive? With electric cars, this applies to basically usually having like a single motor powering, in the case of my colleague Ryan's car, rear wheel drive, or dual motors like in my Polestar 2, making it all wheel drive. Ryan's car is also outfitted with Nokian tires, specifically Nokian dedicated winter tires. They are a sponsor of Out of Spec and they provided these tires for him and they are great. But also my car has all-weather tires from Pirelli, not a sponsor, but it's a really useful illustration of two different setups. Of course, all-wheel drive, right, on all-weather versus rear-wheel drive on dedicated winters. We're going to talk and contrast these two different setups and talk about basically how you consider whether you need all-wheel drive or whether you need dedicated winters or all-weather versus all-season tires for your electric car in winter. So let's kind of break it down and discuss how to decide. So generally, tires are super important for traction. If it's not obvious, you can think of it like shoes for a runner, or it's a thing that makes contact with the ground. It's really important. So is, however, all-wheel drive for certain situations. Of course, all-wheel drive is going to help you basically get going. It can really help you going up hills. But for everything else, when it comes to braking, coming to a stop, turning, your tires really determine a lot of that. And if we look here at my colleague Ryan's Tesla with these winter tires, you can see they are a dedicated winter tire. Nokian is a company well known for making winter tires. You can of course get winter tires from other brands too, but basically these are only designed for use in winter. As opposed to on my car, I have all-weather tires, which are a more recent entry into the tire category. They're basically a more aggressive version of an all-season tire that are more optimized for winter. And they're 3-peak mountain snowflake rated, meaning that they're, okay for winter, but not quite as good as a full-on dedicated winter tire. These are the Pirelli Centenario Weather Actives. You may have heard of the Michelin Cross Climate 2, another very popular tire in this category. We're not going to talk about every model of tire and EV specific versus not EV specific tires. We're just talking about the general differences in this video. However, if you are shopping tires, do check out really good content by tire reviews and other basically influencers and people in this space who have done amazing coverage of that. If you are looking at dedicated winters though, Nokian makes great options for those. And in the all-weather category, my girlfriend Gosha on her Chevy Bolt actually uses Nokian all-weather tires, their WRG4s. So let's just recap, right? You've got all-season tires, which typically come stock on EVs, and they're one step up from summer dedicated performance tires. They are like versatile, not super performance oriented, but they're going to be fine for those of you living in warm climates that really don't see much snow. They're kind of almost like a 3-season tire. You've got all-weather tires, which really can serve as a 4-season tire, but aren't going to be as helpful in the extremes as a winter tire. And then of course the dedicated winter tire is what you're going to want if you live in the mountains where it gets cold and snows a lot, or you do a lot of snow activities and sports. So dedicated winter tires like these are really capable, and even on a rear-wheel drive car can make it really fine for winter, especially in an electric car where you've got lots of batteries and weight that spread out more evenly than most, let's say, gas cars where the engine is in the front in most cases. But anyhow, these winter tires for EVs, or any winter tires on EVs, tend to introduce compromises because on an electric car, right, noise is very sensitive. You don't have an engine running, it's quieter, so you notice tires that are louder. Winter tires are generally louder because of their tread design. They have softer compounds, all of these things. They also have higher rolling resistance, which means they're a bit less efficient aerodynamically. Also, they lose some efficiency. So basically that means you generally get less range with a winter tire in an electric car. This can compound with effects we've talked about in other videos about how cold weather affects electric cars, generally meaning you're just going to get less range in the winter. However, for the grip and the safety, it can really well be worth it, especially again if you live in an area that's icy or snowy or sees extreme conditions. But these specific tires are EV branded, and that's not just branding. In Nokian's case, it means they've applied foam, a foam layer on the inside to help a lot with noise. And Ryan has told me that he actually was really surprised by how quiet these are with this Model 3. So that really helps a lot. Other manufacturers claim, to have different compound and tread designs that also help with noise and efficiency while still keeping grip in winter. But just keep in mind in general for tires that it's all about compromise. You can't have one perfect tire. Like in my case, an all-weather tire is very versatile, and I got it because I needed something to bridge seasons. My summers wore out while it was still warm out, so I wasn't quite ready to put on dedicated winter tires, and the convenience of running one set of tires was great. So that's the trade-off I've made. But in hardcore winter conditions, these won't be as capable. And of course, when it's warm and in summer, they won't be nearly as capable for grip if I wanted to do performance driving as, let's say, a summer performance tire or even a standard all-season tire. It's all about a spectrum of, where the tire is applicable and the right tool for the job. It depends on how much you can specialize. But it's great to see EV-specific versions of tires being made, especially for winter specifically, that help offset a lot of the traditional compromises that winter tires would introduce for an electric car. And I really want to talk about tread wear and tire life. I brought this up before in this channel, but this applies a lot to winter tires with electric cars because a winter tire in general on any car is most effective when it has lots of tread. And of course, as you wear it down, that tread, gets shallower, and therefore it's less effective at gripping in snow and ice, such and such. On an electric car where you'd wear through it quicker, you'd expect winter tires to last less long, and generally tires last less long. The reason for this is electric cars are heavy and high in torque. From a stop, you're used to the quick acceleration EV provides. All of this stuff will just eat into the tire quicker, your car is heavier, and you're just wearing through the compound quicker. So whatever tires you're running on your car, expect to run through them a bit quicker. Now, the, of course, advantage of running separate summer or 3-season, and dedicated winter tires is you have twice the sets of tires. So it's not like you're necessarily spending twice as much money if you're buying both sets because you're wearing through them, seasonally. You're not putting as many miles total on them. But when you buy a non-EV specific tire, whether it be an all-weather or a dedicated winter, keep in mind that if it has a tread wear rating, that may be very different on an EV. For instance, these Centurado Weather Actives, the all-weather ones that I have on my Polestar 2, are rated for like 60,000 miles, which is a lot. That's pretty normal for all-season and all-weather tires. I'm gonna expect to see half of that maybe, just based off my experience with summer performance tires, where after about 18 to 20,000 miles in my car, they were really, really shallow with their tread. So winter tires where tread is really important, just keep an eye on it and budget accordingly that, not only do you potentially need dedicated winter tires, just like with any car, you may be going through those tires more quickly. And then of course, when you're considering an EV specific tire, like the Hakkapeliitta R5 EV edition, generally these are more expensive than non-EV tires, and you don't need to get the EV tire. The EV tire, for the reasons I mentioned before, can be quieter, maybe a little bit more efficient in some cases, generally just quieter. But Nokian, for instance, has on their website Electric Fit, which is a label that applies to basically most of their product lineup that they consider to be suitable for electric vehicles. For other brands, they may not have such clear designations, but like the Pirellis on my Polestar are perfectly fine, even though they're not an EV-specific tire. I can also think of like the Michelin Pilot Sport or X-Ice for a dedicated winter tire, have EV-specific versions. Those are generally more expensive, and also I find like whether you're shopping for tires at Costco or wherever else, generally in more limited supply and harder to find. So if you can't get your hands on the EV-specific ones, don't fret too much and just try the general ones because you may not mind them. Like I noticed with my Pirellis, they're really not that loud. My efficiency has not been harmed that much, so I'm perfectly happy with them. Of course, every tire is a different compromise. So hopefully that's all given you something to think about between, different tire choice for winter with your electric car and then where it applies with the rear wheel drive and all wheel drive. These things are separate, right? The tire always matters for grip. The all wheel drive is just kind of a bonus that's gonna help you basically just get going in a situation or propel yourself up hills. It's not really gonna help you slow down that much. Even if you have, all wheels being driven, okay, you could regeneratively brake on more wheels, but when you're coming to a quick stop, you're going to be using your friction brakes anyways, and all modern cars have 4-wheel disc brakes. So, that's kind of the case there. So if you live somewhere where it's really mountainous and hilly, yeah, get the electric car that has all-wheel drive and definitely get a dedicated set of winter tires. If you live in milder climates, you can consider all-weather tires or dedicated winter tires on either a rear or front or all-wheel drive car it won't matter quite so much. Anyhow, hope this has helped with figuring out the parameters and all of those things to consider with EV tires and winter. Again, I've been Max, and let me know if you have any more questions about this. We can cover more with electric cars in winter, between how they lose range, the tires and traction and all of that to come on this channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.